Good morning, folks. It is just after 7 o'clock in the morning in California, just after 10 o'clock at night in Thailand. And today I have a very special guest, somebody who you may or may not know, but he is a YouTube rock star. He is one of the, I think, probably the fastest growing YouTube account that I've seen ever. He is a live video professional, a video professional, social media. He's just a fantastic person. I've met him at Vid Summit in Los Angeles 2017. But he's really on his game with the live video and the YouTube strategies. What he's doing is just absolutely incredible. I consider him a friend, a new friend, and he's just somebody that if you're wanting to do well on YouTube, do well in live video, he's somebody who you want to know about. Let me bring him on in here. None other than Nick Nimmin. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing fantastic, Todd. I'm really excited to be on here today to share, some YouTube information, especially just talk about live streaming in general. I'm a live streaming addict. If like Todd, as I'm sure you know, sometimes on my Saturday live streams, I'll go. My last 2 Saturdays, I've done 5-hour live streams. So I'm definitely an advocate for live streaming.
Your live streams are beautiful. Everything about your set. I mean, you've got everything nailed, and I feel like we could talk about everything. We could talk about the value of live on YouTube, the value of live on other platforms. We could start with your studio, which is gorgeous. You've got that dialed in. Obviously you've got all the tech dialed in. I mean, I could have you on for 5 or 6 hours and feel like I didn't cover everything. So, I mean, let's start with the basics. Why YouTube? I mean, you've obviously put a lot of effort into YouTube over the last couple of years. What is it about YouTube that's so appealing to you? And, moving into the future, is it a strong platform to be on for people getting started?
I can answer that in one word, really, and that word is discoverability. YouTube makes it extremely easy to actually get discovered in terms of people being able to find the individual videos that you upload. I don't mean discovered in terms of, hey, this person's a rock star. Let's hire them for, something. I just mean about which it's good for that as well. But I just mean the individual videos, as long as you optimize your videos for search. And what I mean by that is basically just using the right titles, descriptions, and tags for your videos, and you keep people watching, then YouTube is going to show people your content. You can also rank those videos in search, which in Google search, in Yahoo, and Bing, because the way that they structure their platform. Whereas, if you go live on Facebook, it's fantastic for Facebook while you're live, and it's fantastic for Facebook to actually put it on your Facebook page. But in terms of people actually finding that content later, your chances are extremely reduced in comparison to the reach that you can get on YouTube by putting in those simple efforts.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we were talking about that before the show that, one of the things I like to do is go live directly into YouTube rather than uploading a video a recorded video of a live video into YouTube. Because I like to eliminate the post-production, but I feel like, YouTube might give it some benefits because they're trying to push live, aren't they? I mean, do they,
oh, yeah.
do they boost the live videos actually while you're live?
Yes, while you're live on YouTube. And again, you have to optimize your videos for search. But as long as your videos are optimized for search, then YouTube will also, not only are they going to just promote you out anyway, as long as you have, at least a little bit of an audience that's coming in and interacting with your content to show YouTube that people are interested in what you're doing. But in addition to that, though, you can actually put in a title, you can put in a description, you can put in tags just like you would a video, and you would be blown away by how effective that is for ranking during the time that you're live for particular terms that you might not have otherwise even had a snowball's chance
right.
to rank for.
So your live videos, what do you do in your live videos? And I know personally, but I'm asking for the audience. What is your style? I mean, do you do interview? Do you do solo presentation? What do you like to do in your lives?
I like to do a little bit of all of it. For the most part, up until recently, I have been doing, it's like a solo stream to where it's basically me interacting with my audience. And the value that I bring there is basically I become a live question and answer. I become a live resource for them to ask any questions that they have about YouTube in terms of what they might be doing wrong or things that they might not know or understand about YouTube. they can ask me about it in a stream, and then I can, answer their question directly instead of, them having to hop on YouTube and search around trying to find the answers to their questions. Like, I'm right there for them, answering the questions for them on the spot, which has been a really cool thing for people. But in addition to that, in not every stream, but in a lot of streams, I also will individually pull up viewers' channels on my stream, and I'll actually give them actionable suggestions that they can take and apply to their channel right now in order to get better results on their YouTube channel and from their YouTube efforts. Now, recently, we've just leveled up our whole game. Like, I used to stream from right here, from what you're seeing on the screen right now. If you're listening to this in the audio, basically this is just an office environment. And as of recently, I think about a month ago, we actually transferred the Saturday live stream to an actual studio that we built. So we just upped the production. We've got multiple cameras in there and all that stuff. And because of that studio, now my brother is actually a part of my Saturday live streams. He's there with me as well every Saturday. So it's turned into a two-person show. And then from time to time now, we're also bringing in guests in person. And every now and then we'll also bring people in on Skype, which is pretty cool. So we basically took it from something that was fun and awesome and working, and we transitioned it into something that, comes across a little bit more pro, and something that is a lot more dynamic in terms of the value that we can give the audience.
I was watching one of your videos. I think it's a recent one where you had 3 people on there. You had somebody in there that you were interviewing. And, I honestly, I spent a few minutes trying to determine, are they all live in his set in Thailand, or is he somehow bringing them in and it's a camera trick and he's, somehow manipulating Wirecast to make it look like they're all there, but they're really not. I mean, it was just a great video. And I think the reason why I thought that is because your studio's dark, and I figured that you could actually maybe get away with a trick like that with a dark studio. But that's what I find interesting about your channel is that there's so many things that you do that are unique to Nick Nimmin's, particularly your live. I love the scrolling of the comments on the screen. You get a lot of people participating, and I was going to actually ask you about the videos that you do where you critique people's channels. Those videos, I think, may be the most valuable videos that you have. I don't know if they perform the best, but wow, they're just loaded with great information. I know this response has been great. Can you talk a little bit about the response and what that's done for you, that one particular style of show?
Yeah, basically the part where I'm actually looking at other people's channels, that wasn't my idea to actually start doing that. I actually saw another creator that is very popular on YouTube. He was, I think he did one thing to where he did like a channel evaluation, a live channel evaluation for somebody. Todd.LIVE is who I'm speaking of. And shortly after that, I had like 2 or 3 comments on my channel where people are like, hey, you should start doing, channel evaluations live. So I said, you know what, let's give it a shot. And I started doing that, and people really started responding to it because, like when it first starts out, something like this, when it first starts out, it is where people are coming in and they're joining the stream and they're wanting the advice, and you start giving the advice, but there hasn't been enough time yet to really find out, hey, is the advice that he's giving people in these live streams working or not? And what happens is over time, now that I've been doing that for a while, is now people are coming into the live streams like, hey, I made the changes that you recommended to me 2 weeks ago. It took me a year to get to, 100 subscribers. And within the last 2 weeks, I'm now at 1,000 subscribers or 500 subscribers or, something like that, just by making, small, very important tweaks to their channel that they wouldn't have otherwise thought of if they weren't participating in the live stream.
Well, and I think I think that's fabulous. And that's definitely going to resonate to, greater participation, greater interest from people, even people that you've already critiqued. They're going to keep coming back because there could be something new. But it also allows you to learn a lot about what's in the heads of people out there. What are the struggles that they're having so that you can build your business around that and have plenty of content to talk about. So you've really kind of walked right into a system that's gorgeous for what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is there's something on YouTube called Super Chat. And even though I do this stuff for free, I started out doing it for free. Now it's come to a point to where people are wanting their channels looked at enough that they will actually drop a super chat, which a super chat is basically a YouTube's donation system to where, you can donate $1 or you can donate, $1,000 if you want. But people typically donate, in the $5 to $10 range. And basically what that does is that actually puts people up closer in the queue, closer to actually coming up on the screen. So, everybody in there is wanting me to look at their channels, but the people that are giving the super chats, that kind of gives them priority. And the funny thing is, from the business standpoint of it, it's like, hey, this is added income to what it is that I'm doing, which is great. But on the audience side, every single live stream that I do, this is a little hidden fact here. I've actually mentioned this on a couple of my latest live streams, but every single live stream that I do, because of that, because I can't get to everybody because there's so many people in my live streams, that I'll actually lose about 50 to 60 subscribers per live stream from people getting upset that I didn't pull their channels up on the screen and saying, that I'm only doing it for the super chats or whatever, where that's not the case. Because what happens is maybe they came in for, an hour of the live stream instead of, if it's a 3-hour live stream, maybe they came in for an hour and they saw just during that segment, I was doing those super chats, which had came in first. But they left before they realized that the next 2 hours after that, I'm looking at channels for free. Right. So because of that, I end up actually losing more subscribers than I gain on my live stream videos. But as far as business is concerned, one, it helps me as far as the watch time on my channel. Two, it is an amazing lead generator in terms of the other services that I offer.
Yeah. Hey, I want to go back to the history of you in YouTube and live. And, normally I ask people what was the big thing that got him into live. And I think you were on YouTube probably, first, and then it was just natural for you to progress right into live. But being a YouTuber and with the YouTube bringing live in, because you were there for that transition from pre-live, days to live days, what has that done, that transition into live on YouTube, done for you? And what do you think it's done for the platform?
Live has actually been on YouTube for a long time. It's just people haven't. It's recently that the whole live thing is catching on fire, right? As you know, I mean, this is what you do as well,
right?
So it's recently that the whole live thing is like, oh my gosh, why haven't I been going live forever? But initially on my channel, my first live stream is actually a live thumbnail tutorial on how to create a thumbnail. And during that live stream, because my channel was still in its infancy, so during that live stream, I was actually, you can hear me audibly getting excited when I had 2 people come into the live stream. I was
nice.
Like, oh my gosh, somebody came in. And I started, I'm like, hey, how are you? Whatever.
Right.
But the purpose of that live stream was basically just to test it out so I could show other people how to do it. And then I just did the thumbnail tutorial in the meantime. And then I left it. I said, okay, that was cool. Now I know how to do it, whatever. So I can make a video about it and so on. And then after I had crossed, I think I might have had maybe 13,000 subscribers at the time. And when they released the mobile live streaming, that's where the game, so to speak, changed. Is what happened. I was sitting at my computer, and a good friend of mine, another YouTuber, internet marketing live streamer, Brian G. Johnson, he hit me up on Facebook. He said, "Hey, YouTube just rolled out the live streaming on mobile to everybody over 10,000 subscribers. Do you have it yet?" And I pulled out my phone and I looked and I said, "Oh my gosh, I have it." So I ran to the other room. And I sat down and I did my first real live stream from the mobile. And I had a lot of people coming in. That was my first, during that initial live stream, another friend of mine, it was my first interaction with him. Roberto Blake came in, and, I had a bunch of people in there, and I ended up going live for 3 hours, and I didn't even realize it. And when it was finished, I thought to myself, that was so much fun. I had so much interaction. I was answering all these questions from everybody. I had, another influencer in the space that I really look up to. I mean, I still look up to Roberto. He's an amazing person.
Sure.
But I have these, this other influencer in the space that came in. I also am getting this great interaction with my audience. I was charged from it in terms of, the energy that I got from it and all of that. And I said, I'm going to start doing this on a regular basis for the sake of just that interaction. It was an amazing thing for me.
Yeah.
And from that point on, I just started going, most every week at that time. I didn't have it into like a dedicated schedule yet. But I started going live on a regular basis after that.
Yeah, Carlos Phoenix has joined us on Facebook, and he mentioned too that YouTube's been live for years, or had a live feature for years, and I always seem to forget that. It's kind of like when they brought it to mobile, that was the event. That's really what, like you said, that's what made it blow up.
Yeah.
It didn't seem to me. Now, of course, I'm not a big YouTuber now, and I wasn't then. I pay a lot more attention to it than I ever have. But prior to the mobile happening, it just didn't seem like YouTube Live was really a thing for anyone. I mean, was anybody succeeding with it before it went mobile? Was anybody using it to great success that you know of?
They were. I know Gideon Showick. He actually had. He's not uploading to YouTube at this point in time anymore, but I know him. He did like a regular thing to where he was testing the live streams and interacting with people, and he was using that to leverage his business at the time as well. So it was definitely being used, but I don't think that it was just being used in mass like it's being used right now, because the technology is easy now. The optics are easier now. The internet connections are a lot more supportive now as far as, the image quality that you can get out of it and all of that. It's just a much better experience, I think, all the way around, from us as the creators to the other side of the people actually watching the videos as well. So I think it's just all around. I think everything just kind of came together to make that marriage of an awesome experience on both ends of the camera.
Yeah, absolutely. Friends who have just recently shown up today, I have Nick Nimmin on. Nick Nimmin is a YouTube professional. He is really just crushing it in every way on YouTube. Recorded videos that he uploads that educate people on how to work their YouTube channel. He's got live videos where he teaches people how to do live, how to do YouTube. If you are just coming in, we were talking about how he's got a really awesome show where part of the show is he brings people's YouTube channels up on the screen and actually walks through with the crowd what these channels are doing successfully or what these channels are not doing successfully, and offers tips and tricks on how to bring, for people to bring their channels up. And the interesting thing is that people keep coming back for more. That everybody wants to have their channel critiqued by Nick. And he's probably learning just as much from the experience as they are. So it's a real good hit for him. And if you're looking for that kind of content on YouTube, you need to look at Nick Nimmin's channel and subscribe. Nick, where do you see YouTube Live going in the future? I mean, they've got some things like Super Chat, like you said, was only offered to people over 10,000. Is that going to stay the same? Or are they going to start rolling out these features to everybody? Or they're going to have certain benchmarks, like, at 10,000 you get this, at 100,000 you get that? I mean, where do you see this going for live?
Well, it was initially the big channels were the only people that could actually go live on a mobile, and then they reduced that down to 10,000. Now I think you can go live if you have over, I think it's 25 subscribers. You can go live on your phone. As far as going live on your channel, you can start a channel right now. As long as you verify the account, then you can start going live tomorrow. As far as Super Chat is concerned, if you have over, I believe it's 1,000 subscribers now, that you can start doing the Super Chat as well. But the thing with the Super Chat is you have to think of how you can actually generate that. You have to be a little bit creative in terms of how it would apply to your business. And in all honesty, it's kind of like a side effect more than something to focus on, in my opinion. Yes, you can generate additional income from it. Yes, in some cases it can add up. But if you're using YouTube specifically for business, then the other advantages that you're going to get from the live stream are going to be a lot more dominant than the Super Chat will. But as far as the direction that I see YouTube going in terms of live streaming, I just see it happening more and more. And the reason for that is because it's easy in comparison to actually making video content. You don't have to edit. You don't have to process your audio. You don't have to do anything afterwards. Basically you just optimize the feed before you go live, and then you go live. And then once you're done, and you don't have to do anything else to that, particular live stream, with the exception of, promoting it or whatever. So it's a faster, easier way to get content onto the platform. And because of that, as a natural thing that we do just as people, we try to go along that whole path of least resistance, so to speak. And with live streaming, it really opens up the possibilities to make that happen on a really large scale.
Now, if you whip your phone out of your pocket and you want to go live on YouTube, can you actually optimize that video like you can if you're going through, say, Wirecast or something? Or can you go and add tags? I mean, I'm assuming when we've touched on optimization a little bit, and optimization is the title, the tags, the description, and all that. Can you do that with mobile? Can you add tags on mobile?
You can add descriptions and you can add titles. But what I recommend to people is, if you know that you're going to be going live on your mobile, let's say, hey, I go live on my mobile every Wednesday, right? Let's say that. And if you're going live on your mobile every Wednesday, well, Wednesday afternoon before you leave your house, or before you leave your office, depending on, what you're doing, you want to go into your actual YouTube admin on your computer. And there you want to go into your tags and you want to go ahead and pre-add your tags there. So basically what happens is once you go live on your mobile, it's going to automatically pull those tags from the defaults that you have in your live stream settings inside of YouTube. So it's going to pull those defaults in, but your description and your title is going to be, a standalone thing that you can do on your phone instead of having to do that on your computer as well. But here's the thing. If you're adding a bunch of links to your descriptions and things like that, if you're trying to sell stuff or anything like that, in that particular case, then it's going to be more advantageous to you to go ahead and fill out your description as well. And then that way, when you go live on your phone, then you can just go ahead and just put your title in, and all of that other stuff is just going to be pulled in before you actually go live.
So just to back up for people, and this is actually a little bit new to me because I didn't really ever think about this with going live on a mobile phone on YouTube, because that's something I really don't do often. But I know that when I go live on YouTube through Wirecast, it's going to pull whatever the defaults are on that page, the live streaming page that you're talking about, whatever thumbnail is there, whatever description is there. And one of the things I've had as a creator is I forget to go change that stuff. It's another step in the process. And I fill out those things. I use Switchboard Live, and I can fill those things out in Switchboard Live, but sometimes I forget to assign it, but I really honestly did not know that if I go live with my phone, it's going to pull whatever the defaults are on that live stream page and assign it to that. That's huge.
Yeah, it is. And the one thing that is different in what you just said there is you still will need to add a thumbnail to it. But on the mobile for YouTube specifically, they actually just want you to take a selfie or take a picture of whatever it is that you're talking about. But you actually do that on the phone as part of the process of going live. So basically, you start up the app, and then they have you take a picture, and then they have you add your description and all that stuff, and then you actually go live.
Now, I'm sure you have an extreme bias towards YouTube, but as far as going live, I mean, do you go live anywhere else, and do you assign a greater value? I mean, taking your channel and kind of what you've done out of the picture, somebody starting out, what makes YouTube attractive maybe to be the platform that you do go live on as opposed to Facebook, that's where people usually go, right? I'm getting my tongue twisted here because I've got this long question that I want to ask you, but why YouTube over Facebook, Periscope, anything else?
I think that if the content that you're making supports it, I think you should go live everywhere. And the reason for that is because you need to, it's important that you meet your audience where they are. For a different show that I do, I actually do this with Owen Video, who you had on your show previously. We actually do a live recorded podcast every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Central Time. And with that one, we actually record it live as well using Be Live. And with that, just like with any page that you do or any type of social media platform where you're starting out and your following isn't there yet, you just have to build it up on the platform that your audience happens to be responding to. And the thing is with this is, let's say that your audience is responding to you on Facebook. Let's say you're simulcasting and your audience is responding to you on Facebook. They're not responding to you on YouTube. So you have to look at that and you have to say, okay, well, maybe this specific way that I'm doing this live stream just isn't really appropriate for my audience on YouTube, or it's not helping me actually pull in a new audience from the YouTube crowd. Maybe instead I need to record those, broadcast it to Facebook, record it to my hard drive while I'm broadcasting, or put it up on YouTube and then download it later, and then cut up that content, put an actual edit together, make it something that you actually make specifically for YouTube, upload that live stream as a video, and see if people will respond to it that way. So basically what it is, in my opinion, is you need to basically meet people where they're at, depending on the type of content that you make, and see where people are going to respond to you most, and where they're not responding to you, try to figure out what it is that you need to do. Because just because you're going live on Facebook and people are responding to it doesn't mean that they're going to respond to it on YouTube, and vice versa as well. Because, as an example, we have an expectation on Facebook that we don't have on YouTube. Like on YouTube, we go to YouTube because we want to invest time in live streams and watching videos and consuming that type of content. But on Facebook, Sometimes we'll, like if we click on a video, then, we might go through the feed and end up getting lost there. But for the most part, people go onto Facebook to communicate with each other, to spy on each other and stuff like that.
Right.
But on Facebook, content happens to us instead of us actually going there and dedicating that time. So because of that expectation, you have to structure what it is that you're doing to meet your audience in terms of their expectations and wherever your specific audience happens to be.
Yeah, I agree. And once you get started too, I think it's very important to monitor, well, see where your success is. You really got to monitor it. You've got to try different things. Like, I mean, if you only have the ability to go to one platform, I would recommend people try it on, go to Facebook, do a video, if you can do it the same day, if you have time, go do one on YouTube, see what happens. And do that for a while and to see where you're getting responses. I can tell you this as a TriCaster. I'm looking at my 3 platforms right now, and it's constantly fluctuating as to which one is doing the best. And I'm sure there's factors like time of day and that sort of a thing. But what I've found interesting after doing this for about 2 years is when I got started, Periscope got the best response. Now it's like next to nothing. When I first got started on YouTube, and for a long time on YouTube, I would be lucky if anyone even showed up. Now it's actually the platform that does the best. I do think we're at a random time this morning, but right now I have 2 people on Facebook. Facebook used to do better, I think, than they're making some changes to the pages. When we were talking a little bit about that before the show, but I have 2 on there right now. We have 6 on YouTube. I mean, 6 on YouTube is something that I don't know if I've ever. I know for you, your channel's big, and when you're on there, you probably you get several hundred, I bet. But I mean, 6. Yeah. 6 at 7 in the morning. That's fantastic for 7 in the morning.
Sure.
But you've constantly got to be watching this. And I agree with you. If you can be multiple places, that's the thing to do. Yeah. How do you do that if you're starting out? What would you recommend somebody to do to get started going to multiple places at one time?
I would recommend either simulcasting like you do. I've seen your setup on Instagram, you have cases where you've got, like 2 iPads up, 2 phones and a computer, and you're going live in all these different places, at once from all these different devices. You can definitely do it that way. But I think really for somebody just starting out, in my opinion, I think focusing on a particular platform, if you're just starting out, focusing on a platform, saying, okay, experiment a little bit, try to figure out where your audience is, but really focus on a platform and learn how to really get everything that you can out of that platform first. And it doesn't, and by get everything you can out of that platform, I don't mean that you have to get, 1 million people watching your live stream, but get it to where you can, okay, you know what, every time I go live here, I have this, this consistent audience that keeps coming in, right? These people that I'm starting to recognize now and things like that. But whichever platform it is that you choose, in my opinion, it's important to learn how to actually use that platform and how to get the most out of your stream and interact with the community on that platform first, and then, try to move on and kind of broaden yourself out a little bit. And the reason that I believe that is because what works on Facebook doesn't necessarily work on YouTube. What works on YouTube doesn't necessarily work on Periscope and so on, because, again, it comes down to the expectations. It comes down to, what the audiences are used to consuming on those different platforms. And because of that, if you focus on one, then you can get a really deep understanding, because it's more than just hitting the button and going live and saying, hey, this is what I'm going to talk about, and then wrapping the show up. You have to actually create that connection with the people that are watching your live streams. In order to do that, you have to understand the platform, how you can actually get it out to people. And then once those people start coming in, then you have to fine tune how to connect with those people. So that part of it, the connection part, you can learn how to do that, on any platform once you learn it once. But as far as where your time is most valuable, focus first. And then once you get an understanding of how that platform works and how you can get the most out of it, then start moving the magnifying glass around, so to speak, in terms of, trying another platform. Hey, now I know how this one works. Even though there's probably going to be changes taking place, I'm going to start putting a little bit more time into this other one so that I can figure out how that one works as well, so that I can run 2 of these side by side and then just keep building onto it as you go. That's my recommendation for that. Excellent
advice. You know what? While you were talking too, I actually was able to figure out how to bring up the chat on YouTube, and we've had some comments come in. We've got let's see. Steve does Linux. He just said Nick Nimmin in the house. British Cook said hello. Gord Isman is with us, and Ken. I can't pronounce his last name. I can't really hardly see it, but we got a couple comments that I wanted to address. Gord asked, What do you think about using YouTube Live for webinars?
I think it's cool. I mean, of course you want to have it unlisted or something like that so that you can, stream it directly to a platform and not, I mean, technically you don't have to have it unlisted, but I think that with an actual webinar, that's more of like a, hey, I'm coming there to learn this and then, essentially be sold something or whatever. But because of that, I think that it's a little bit unnatural just to broadcast that out. But on the flip side, I mean, you might as well give it a shot because you might have that one person that's watching that might end up being a long-term customer. So, I guess don't make it unlisted and just go ahead and make it public and go for it.
Great advice. And Nick also, Gord said, you have great tutorials on OBS with YouTube and it's free.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point that he made. And that brings me to ask you, are you using OBS still? And have you tried Wirecast? A lot of people like to get into this Wirecast versus OBS thing. So I'm kind of wondering, what are your thoughts on that?
I currently use OBS. It's what I started with. It's extremely easy because I've used it so much. You know how it is when you use any software, for a period of time, it becomes kind of like, like that comfortable blanket,
Absolutely.
in the cold. You know what I mean? To where it's like, hey, I can depend on this and I know it. So I'm just going to keep using this. But I am actually experimenting with Wirecast and making sure that Wirecast can work the same way that OBS does. We're just now recently doing this because for our OBS, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this where you can see this or not, but I'll try. I use this thing right here, which I'll try to put up on the screen. There we go. This is a Elgato Stream Deck. And basically with this thing, what it does is it allows me to basically just hit a button. And when I hit that button, then something can come up on the screen. I can turn the live chat on and off. I can make a transition into another scene and all of that stuff instead of having to, just go in and click things here and there and all of that. Now, I know with Wirecast, they have it to where everything is visual instead of it being more text-based like OBS. But because I'm using the Stream Deck and because I've gotten so used to using the Stream Deck, I'm really dependent, so to speak, on OBS. But we're experimenting it because there's a handful of workarounds that you have to do in order to get the Stream Deck to work efficiently in OBS. But we're in the process of messing with that right now. So we might upgrade. But for now, I'm definitely an advocate of OBS without question, and especially for somebody that is starting out. For anybody that's watching this or listening to this that is saying, hey, I want to get into live streaming. A lot of people that are just starting on that path, you might not have the budget. If you're doing it personally, you might not have the budget, for your business. Hey, this is an experimental thing. We don't want to spend money on it yet. So because of that, you might want to just get a low priced webcam, and go with free software like OBS or something like that so that you can get a handle on it. So you can make sure it's something that you're going to be doing long term because, for a lot of people, Wirecast itself, it's a chunk of change. It's what is it now? I think it's up to $700 or $800.
I don't know. I bought the $500 package. I'm still using Wirecast 7. They're into Wirecast 8 now. I have not looked at the price on Wirecast 8. I kind of like what you said. I've got my comfort blanket going. Wirecast 7 works and it's dazzling. The things that I can do with it are, I actually have somebody that just showed up on Facebook and the first thing he said was, how are you doing side-by-side video? That's because I know how to do it in Wirecast 7. I feel like if I upgrade, I'm going to have to learn it again. There might be a different trick and, I'm comfortable. It's a nice place to be. Right.
Right.
But, I mean, OBS, I started with OBS. The reason why I moved, and yes, $500 is a chunk of change. The reason why I moved was just the lack of tech support. I don't even think at the time when I started using OBS, I thought of going to YouTube to see if I could get help there. I just went to the forums. I think OBS has some forums and they're pretty much worthless,
Yeah.
So
yeah, for that, as far as OBS is concerned, like with that, you just kind of have to roll up your sleeves, so to speak, and get in there and just try to figure it out and trial and error and all that because the internet is definitely helpful, in terms of getting it set up. But, when you do run into issues, it can definitely, end up being a big headache for things like you were talking about as far as support and things like that are concerned.
Okay, now Gord has asked an interesting question, and I think that you are easily one of the best suited people on the internet for answering this question. But he asks, let me see if I can read it. It's kind of far off. Do you think that doing live video on YouTube messes with your channel's growth ability? Meaning, Will your subs like the live content that is longer versus the short tutorials that you do?
Here's what I can tell you, Gord, is the live streaming, you can stack on, as long as you have people actually coming into your live streams, you can stack up watch time like a maniac during a live stream, as long as you have some people coming in there. Because basically you've got a group of people, even if it's not a big group of people, you have a group of people that are hanging out for, in some cases, for the duration of the video. And when you have that, plus you get the watch time from the replay, I mean, it's crazy in those terms. But outside of the watch time side of it, the connection that you can have with the people that are watching your channel, especially, as a smaller channel, like the connection that you can create there is huge, because you can spend a lot of time talking directly to a nice handful of people before things start getting out of control. In terms of, the chat moving so fast that it's hard to, keep an eye on what's going on, where you have to try to recognize people as they're going through and things like that. Like it can be a really intimate experience on your end too. Like the getting to know people via your live streams can be a really intimate experience, and you can create friends that way, internet friends that way, and in some cases real life friends that way, because of the intimate experience that the live stream can give you as a small channel.
Yeah, I've watched your videos where you're doing the critiques of people's channels, and you just can't even keep up with the scroll. I mean, people are so engaged, and I mean, I think it's a brilliant move to have that as part of your show, because of the way it brings people in, and everyone wants to be highlighted. And it's really made me think about the things that I do. How like I do an Instagram podcast. How could I somehow do that with Instagram and bring people in and, just get people excited? And that's what you want. I mean, you want people to come in, and even if it's hard to keep up with the scrolling, the feed, that's a good problem to have.
It is. And what's crazy is as things start to scale, is when you have that dedicated time, and I really recommend anybody that's going to be doing any type of live streaming that you have a dedicated time and you stick to that time for a very long period of time. The reason for that is because as things progress, people are going to start adjusting things. Hey, just like they do TV. Hey, I got to make sure that I'm around, or I have my computer on, or if I'm at work, I got to make sure that I have my headphones in or something like that around this time, because this is the time that this person is going live or something like that. But on my channel in particular, and I've seen this on a handful of other channels as well, the actual community that's been created around my channel because of my live streams, in my opinion, is the most valuable thing about my live stream. Because in addition to me looking at people's channels and me answering people's questions, the people in the chats are interacting with each other. I've had people work out collaborations. We've had, there's been a couple of times actually to where either somebody came on the show, or there was a viewer that was really close to a subscriber milestone, like 1,000 subscribers or 10,000 subscribers or something like that. And we'll dedicate a small portion of the show to, hey, if you're just coming in the stream right now, we're trying to get this person over the 10,000 subscriber mark. We're getting real close. We have 10 more people to go. So this is the type of content they make. If you're into this type of content, definitely head over there and you make sure you subscribe. We're going to drop a link in the chat right now. And what happens when you're doing that kind of stuff is people start saying, wow, this is cool. I want to be a part of this, right? Because everybody's helping each other. Two is they start talking to each other as like, oh, hey, I saw you here last week. Oh, hey, I've been seeing you here every weekend for the past, 2 months. We should, let's add each other on Facebook, right? So you start creating like a literal community around what's going on in your channel. And to me, that's the most valuable thing about what it is that I do on my live streams.
There's no doubt. This is something that I've heard time and time again, that when you create a brand, whatever it might be, and the people that participate in what the brand offers, and I'll tell you, it's World Domination Summit. Have you heard of World Domination Summit?
I have not.
Okay, World Domination Summit was started by a guy, for whatever reason, his name eludes me right at the moment, but he's up in Portland, Oregon. And he started doing this thing about, we're going to change the world. And he's written some books, and he wrote this big manifesto that really got him on the map. But he created this thing called World Domination Summit. And the people within World Domination Summit, it's kind of like a clan almost. And they communicate with each other, and they collaborate, and they get things going on. And like, he doesn't even have to be a part of it, and it's working. It's happening. And, there's a lot of power when you can build something that is a business particularly, but the community engages within it. And that's what you're doing. I mean, that's what it sounds like you're doing. And it's just going to continue to grow. I mean, at this point, the snowball is just going to get bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And, it's cool also, like, because that, it kind of naturally happened. Like, it wasn't that part of it. There was no strategy attached to that or anything like that. I watched that happen naturally, and seeing that evolve was just a really cool thing in terms of, people saying things, sending me screenshots about, hey, it's Saturday, but we're watching your show instead of the cartoons. And it's like, like their family sitting in front of the TV, or, people sending me pictures of them driving down the street in their car, but they have, instead of their GPS up, they have me on the screen in their car, and being part of the live stream there because they didn't want to miss it. Like seeing that stuff evolve, seeing people start interacting on a regular basis in the comments, seeing people collaborate because of it and things like that. That part of it has just been incredible.
Well, the fact that you didn't set out to do this and it just is happening makes it all the more better.
It does.
I think a lot of people set out to make that happen, and it's just happening for you, which is a testament to the kind of content that you're putting out there and the response that you're getting. I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that.
Hey, British Cook asks a question. Any quick tips for improving your confidence in delivery on live streams? He has a cooking channel or something like that. He does cooking.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. The very first thing is actually know what it is that you're going to be doing. That's huge, because, if you plan for it and you say, okay, well, this is how I'm going to structure my show. It's going to open up. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to start showing the food. And then after I start showing the food, then I'm going to start, talking about why the food is this. And then I'm going to have this section where I'm answering questions and things like that. And then we're going to go back to the food. So you actually structure the whole thing. It gives you the guidance to where you're like, okay, this is where we're at in the show, so I know that I need to do this. And that can take a lot out of your head in terms of, well, what do I do next? Am I going to be able to carry this? Am I going to be able to, keep this thing going for the whole time that I should be live and stuff like that? It gives you a basic structure that you can follow. That's number one. Number two is, if you're worried about forgetting what it is that you are saying or anything like that, just remind yourself and remember that you're human, and everybody watching the show is human. And as far as confidence is concerned and what it is that you're doing in your live streams, the people that are watching your show, if they live stream themselves, they might be critiquing you in some way. But most of the people that are watching your show, in most cases, they're not live streaming themselves either. So they're probably just impressed that you're even live in the first place, right? That they're actually being able to be a part of what it is that you're doing. But don't be afraid to show your human side. Sometimes you forget stuff. Sometimes, we all forget stuff. You'll be going down this particular thought path, and then all of a sudden it'll blank out. And then you have to do I can't remember what I was saying there, but hey, let's talk about this instead. Right. So in that case, all you're doing there is you're just showing people that, hey, yeah, I'm a human being just like you are. So just remember that the only people that may be really judging you are the people that are live streamers themselves. And even them, like when I watch a live stream personally, when I see somebody fumble, I don't even skip a beat in my brain, because I know what it is they're going through. I know I'm like, hey, they held it together pretty good up until now. And then now they're jumbling, and then they pull it right back together, and they just keep on going. Like, I know how the process works. So because of that kind of helps, take that judgment out of it as well. But really just go for it. Practice as much as you possibly can. Go live as much as you can within, reason, of course, for your personal content strategy. But go live as much as you can, within that. And just don't be afraid to be human. Just stand on that. Hey, I'm a human being. Everybody watching this is a human being, except for YouTube bots or Facebook bots, right? But everybody, watching this is a human being, and they all understand that I'm doing all of this off the top of my head. So if I make a mistake, if I drop something, if you're making food, if you drop something, you make a mess, people understand that, that you're human. There's a really good chance that eventually, if you haven't yet, that you're going to make some type of mistake.
Well, I can testify to the fact that the tripping up on your own question, I do it constantly. I'll have 5 questions in my head, and I'll try to combine. I've already done that in this podcast broadcast like 3 times. But I just have so much I want to ask, and a lot of times in the middle of a question, like you're where you want to take the question will change, and it just screws you up entirely. And you know what? You just have to roll with it, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that's the whole thing, because, like I said, it's like we're we're all humans, and we're all, anytime you go live, you're just rolling with the punches. You're rolling with real life events as they unfold, and people are witnessing what's going on. So as far as the confidence is concerned, just stand strong on, hey, I'm doing something that a lot of people don't even have the courage to do.
Yeah.
So just by turning the camera on in the first place and standing in front of the camera and putting myself out there in that regard, I'm already light years in confidence ahead of a lot of other people, most people really, because I'm actually having the courage to actually put myself out there like this in the first place. So just rest on that, that you're already taking those steps and that you're already actually doing something for the sake of bettering yourself or other people or whatever reason it is that you're doing your live streams. But just say, hey, I'm proud of myself for getting in front of the camera, and lean on that, and don't be afraid to be human.
It's funny. You've got some training products that I think you offer, and you're probably working on some. I've got some as well. I've got what I call the Slam Dunk Studio, where I teach people how to build the studio and get the audio and all that. And I decided when I started recording this, and this, I did this a lot of the reason so I don't have to go back and edit a bunch, but I decided that I was going to record these videos as though I were live. So if I sneeze, if I forget to turn my phone off, if the doorbell rings, I'm not going to worry about it. And I'm just going to remind people, I'm training you to do live. And when you're live, shit happens. And you can't edit it out, and it just happens. And I'm going to treat these recorded videos that you're watching like I'm live, like we're hanging out and you're directly in front of me, to just kind of build confidence and my own personal reason, of course, so I don't have to edit a bunch. But, I think it's a real hang up for people that they want everything to be perfect, and it just isn't going to be.
Right. And not only that, I mean, there's tech hurdles. Todd, how many times have you tried to go live and, for whatever reason, the stream isn't coming through clear and it's a mess, or the audio's screwed up, or the technology just in whatever, sense that you were depending on it just didn't come through for you? I mean, it happens all the time. That's part of the whole experience. And people watching, they know that. People watching, they're like, hey, this looks like crap right now, so I'm not going to participate in this particular stream, but, it sounds like he's sharing good information, so I'll be back. But in this particular stream, it's just not, the quality that I would like it to be, or whatever. But, just the fact that you're going for it, and that you go for it on a regular basis, people respond to that.
Yeah, and we're getting a lot of good feedback on the answers that you gave here. So people are really happy. British Cook, Marlon Brathwaite, I apologize if I butchered your name, my friend. Gord Isman, they're all loving the answers that you're giving. I think I've run out of questions from them. Nick, for somebody starting out, like they really just want to get going, and I think we kind of covered this, but I want to close it out with something basic. For somebody starting out, and they really just, they worry about the tech. We just went through the present, so we don't have to address that. So let's talk about tech. What would you recommend for somebody just getting started out? They just want to go live, let's say on Facebook or YouTube.
Real quick before we get into that, I want to also mention that one of the fun things about going live is like how Todd was just, saying the names and having to apologize for saying it wrong. That's one of my favorite things is butchering names. Because, that's part of the whole live thing too, is, when you have those chats and you're trying to, respond to people and all that stuff. Like I know for, in my case, I guarantee you that I butcher half the names that I say in a live stream. So I just find that funny for whatever reason.
It is. I'm amused by it too. And you know what? I feel like I'm walking on ice when I say names, because it's, I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want anybody to run away upset. But on the other hand, you want to call them out, right? And welcome them, thank them for being here, mention them. So, it's a catch-22. You just have to roll with it.
Absolutely. But yeah, as far as the tech, to go back to your question, as far as the tech, if you are like, if you're just wanting to test it out and you don't want to deal with any tech, then just go live from your phone. That's the easiest way to do it on every platform. If you are wanting to get a little bit into the tech stuff, grab yourself, and you're wanting to do it within a budget, grab yourself like a Logitech C922. That's what I'm using here, a Logitech C920. Both of those are cameras that are definitely good, at least good enough. And I also recommend, if you're on a budget, that you use something like OBS or XSplit or something like that, which are all free pieces of software to just get started. And if you're going live on Facebook, you can use like Be Live, and there's other services like that, to where you can tap into those as well to kind of cut down on the tech learning curve before you go live. But really, the easiest way to actually get started is just to do it on your phone.
Great advice. Nick, where can people find you if they're wanting to look you up? And do you have anything new coming out that you want to share with people before we close it out?
You can find me at nicknimmin.com. Links to everything are there. You can also find me on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/nicknimmin. Links to everything is there, or links to everything there as well. Also, if you do go to my YouTube channel, make sure that you click on the community tab there as well, because other projects that I'm involved in, different podcasts that I do and things like that, I also list those in the community tab as well as they come out. Stuff that may not, be a perfect fit for my channel, but other collaborations with other people that I do and things like that, I'll actually post those in my community tab. So make sure that you check out the community tab as well.
And you got anything new coming out? Any products, any services, anything that you want to share before we close it out?
Yeah, my web store, tubertools.com. I actually have a membership area there, and it's an actual web store. It's video graphics and things like that for content creators. And I do have a course coming out, but I'm actually not doing any real promotion for it yet because I'm still in the process of putting it all together. But I've actually partnered with somebody to put a course together, and it's going to be awesome. So definitely subscribe to my channel, and you'll definitely be notified.
Well, and on your website, you've got a VIP section. I don't remember if you already said that, but you've got some freebies in there. If people want to put in their email, you've got some free slides and some copyright free music. And what's that about?
Yeah, if you go to nicknimmin.com/VIP, basically that gets you into my email list, which is a newsletter that I send out from time to time, basically letting people know what's going on with YouTube. And of course, if I find any deals or anything like that related to video creators, then I'll send those out as well. But basically inside of that, I have some pre-made video graphics you can use. I have some music loops that are copyright free, royalty free music that you can use in your videos, live streams, whatever. I've also got some PDF guides that you can download on how to tag YouTube videos and how to write a video script and that sort of thing as well. So tons of value inside of there. That's one thing that I really try to focus on, and I try to recommend to everybody that to focus on if you're doing any type of business, because any type of business online, but especially if you're using content for your business, is like a lot of people, they'll start their content journey thinking about, hey, what is this going to do for me and my business? But if you turn that around and you start focusing on the people that are actually going to be consuming your content, that's where the real magic happens, as far as, people being really into what it is that you're doing, people sharing your stuff a lot, and people not feeling like you're always trying to sell them stuff and, things like that. So make sure that you add tons of value to whatever it is that you do.
Words of wisdom, friends. Nick, thank you so much for being on the show, folks. It's just now about 8 o'clock. Nick is in Thailand. So it's pushing, well, it's after 11 o'clock now, his time, PM. But Nick, thank you so much for taking a chunk of your evening out to be on Entrepreneur Live Video.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for reaching out. And, it was cool getting to meet you and hang out with you a bit at Bid Summit. That was awesome. And I will definitely see you at one of the conventions this year. One thing that I do want to, another thing real quick that I want to let people know is the Video Marketing World Summit, which is going to be held in Dallas, Texas in August. I will be speaking there. So if you want to learn anything, YouTube related, definitely head over to there. And if you want to, to talk to me personally in terms of, things related to your channel and, things like that, that would be a great place to have a face-to-face meeting. I'm always up to, to talk YouTube over coffee. So definitely head over there.
That's awesome. I haven't heard of that conference. I'm going to check into that. That sounds like one that, is it a big one?
Yeah, it's by Jeremy Vest from VidPal.
Okay.
And basically it's video marketing specific, and they're actually limiting the amount of people in there so that they can keep it kind of an intimate thing. So actually I have a video about it on my channel. So I can send you a link to that video so you can learn a little bit more about it.
Sweet.
Todd.
I'm definitely interested. Well, Nick, thanks again, folks. Thank you for joining us today. Nick, if you want to hang on while I shut everything down, we'll chat in a minute.
Sure.
Thanks, everybody, for your participation. Too many people to call out right now, but thank you. A lot of participation on YouTube today, which I really like to see. Facebook's making so many changes. Periscope, I think, is pretty much worthless anyway, so it's nice to see YouTube is popping with live video. I mean, for a 7 o'clock in the morning, Nick, I don't know if you shared this one or not, but I people are just showing up. It's a fabulous thing. So
nice,
folks. Thank you for listening. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you for listening. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Take care and stay productive.